what could happen if we added like formation of healthy habits to goal setting, like almost as a cornerstone of everything that we do. So obviously a definition of habit could be settled or regular tendency or practice, especially the one that is hard to give up. And for me, that last bit is the key thing. So if I said to you, Susie, no more physical, just stop it, you'd be like, are you joking me? It's
Yeah,
like,
what do I
it, yeah,
do?
it's actually part of you now. You know,
Yeah,
if somebody says your name, and it could even be somebody that doesn't know you. So for, this is the first time we've met.
yeah,
But if somebody said to me, Suzie Chapman, tennis coach, I go, yeah, she does tons of physical. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So it is part of your reputation,
yeah.
part of your identity, and so on.
Like
So for
stuck
me,
to you.
exactly, yeah, and that's it. For me, it's, you've got a habit when you can't give it up.
Yeah,
And I think that doesn't happen a lot. So, for, in a really big blue sky thinking way, we could actually package up habit forming for everything our players do.
hmm
From the micro minutia detail to the big picture thinking. Of course, it would be lovely if you could say, let's make winning a habit, but
yeah,
that again creates an extrinsic motivation. But performing to our best and regularly testing ourselves, challenging yourself, that needs to become almost a habitual pattern. And
yeah,
that's the irony with a lot of tennis coaches, is they don't have that intrinsic motivation to learn, to
yeah,
improve, and then they expect their players to do it.
yeah,
So there's a massive dichotomy there. So if we viewed through the lens of a habit, my personal opinion is that the developments and the results would be a byproduct of that habitual behavior. So we wouldn't have to be so tight on the monitoring of the goal setting. It would actually happen a lot more organically. But of course, we
yeah.
can still create some sort of template to shape it and mold it and direct it. And I heard there's a Brazilian coach who heads up our national academy in Stirling just now, called Leo Azevedo, and that doesn't roll off my tongue very well. And he mentioned at our national coaches conference that he doesn't like setting goals, and that, of course, I was like, oh my god, it put me in a spin. And then when
Yeah.
I quizzed him on it more, he was more into this. It's about constantly developing and learning. And then I was
Okay.
like, yeah, but how do you capture that? That's the kind
Yeah.
of, that's the key thing, because players need to feel it, they need to see it in factual evidence and so on. So if we look at the model, just thinking about that habitual kind of lens,
Mhm.
and let's feel if there's a difference. This is my kind of catch cry that I use quite a lot. And this gets a bit deep and philosophical, but we can maybe speak a bit more detail about this another time if you want. But I use this slogan, grow forwards and play. Now, this is a play on words, really, because I was getting frustrated at people getting told to grow up. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Use it. It's like grow up. You get told, in those early years, up to maybe before you go to university or start working, grow
Yeah.
up, grow up, grow up, and then you work for a little bit, and you maybe experience this actually. Then you get told to settle down.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, what the hell's that all about? So
Yeah.
it's like, grow up, now settle down. I'm like, well, God, can I not just actually keep growing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think all of this coincides with when you maybe physically and mentally are meant to be at your peak and so on, but it's a load of nonsense. I think that, I look for opportunities to grow forwards
Yeah.
mentally as much as I can. And now, ironically, physically, because that's something that was a bit of a light bulb moment for me about 8 weeks ago.
Mm.
And the play part is, again, slight play in words, but most people view play as like unadulterated tomfoolery, just messing around. And
Yeah.
play for me is in essence mindfulness. It's
Mhm.
when you play in anything, whether it be a sport or when I watch my kids play, they are completely absorbed by
Yeah.
what it is they're doing. And you cannot interrupt them. You try and interrupt them and tell them what they should be doing, and they're like, no, 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 they've got this down. They know the
Yeah.
scope of what they're doing. So I could liken play to maybe even, God, washing my car.
Yeah.
When I wash my car, I'll listen to a podcast. So I'm actually like completely mindful of the podcast and obviously just going along with washing the car. And for me, that gives me the same sensation as when I play a game of tennis. I'm mindful of what it is I'm doing. So that's something I really strongly believe, is that we need to look ways to grow forwards, because tennis, as you know, is very hierarchical.
Yeah.
You know, rankings, even the ranking list goes from up and down. You know, people talk about things like it's an uphill struggle. You know, it's like, oh, it's, you know, it was such a, to get to the top. You didn't get to the top of anything. You know, it's all an imagined thing. You know, it's like, it's on a piece of paper. So my thoughts on this are: create these healthy habits which lead to constant growth. Attach the process to the habits. Look for opportunities to play, and that we've already talked about. That can come in many different ways. But also review and evaluate on how you played, and then go again. So it's essentially, instead of this end point, this line just keeps on going and keeps on going. So you've got your little habits, you attach them to specific processes, you experience them in a playful environment, and that can be competition as well. Then you review, then you reinforce, or maybe you have to tweak your habits, go again, go again, go again, go again. So as a basic principle, what are your thoughts on that?
And I think it's, I like it, because, like you said, there's no end point. It's not like, okay, we've, get to this position or get to this ranking. Okay, that's it. The work's done. And that's where I think a lot of athletes, and especially tennis players, do struggle. And I've gone through it myself, because you don't know where to go then. And you're almost so focused on that goal that you can't, or at least I know what I'm like, I can't concentrate on anything else. So I think to keep reinforcing it, and not making it like, if we don't achieve this, then this will happen. It's okay. Like you said, like tweaking it slightly. And then you just keep reviewing, and like you say, you are growing. One thing I've found since coaching, I've only been coaching the last couple of years. It was more of a playing background for me. But because of the experience I'd had in work environments, working in an office, working in a completely different industry versus coaching, my mental health has felt so much better. And I found it a lot easier to reflect on the year previous and go, okay, well, 3 years ago I was feeling this way, compared to the last year I'm feeling this way. And actually I've still got so much more time and space to grow. And I love being in that environment. And it's interesting what you say about getting to a point and then people want you to settle, or the environment is trying to dictate you to settle. And I was in one job once where I was getting on so well with my colleagues, and I had to help manage a team a lot of the time, manage the office essentially. And my boss would just say, I just want you just to sit there. And he didn't like the fact that I got on with everybody and involved everybody and got them all together and got them all on board with things. And certain groups just used to stay so detached from each other. They were never involved together, and they could help each other's teams and things. And he'd just be like, no, just sit there. Just sit there. And you're just like, and you just feel like you're trying to box me in, and that's not me. That's not my personality. That's not where I come from. That's not what I've learned. Coming from sports. So I really like it.
You personally feel this? We use the word desire to constantly evolve and develop. I think it's so important. I think we, as coaches, if we can get our players to buy into that, then it's going to work big time. But I think to do that, we have to almost, and I'm going to use the word deliberately, get through the parents. We have to go through the parents to do that, because they want quick wins.